DonInLondon, hello. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance and behaviour. My addictive substance, alcohol. My behaviour could be equally addictive around people, places and things, meaning I wanted to be with the right people, in the right place, doing the right thing. And often I was just playing catch up, thinking I needed to be like them, whoever they were, so that I would fit in and I could be a part of something going on. I guess that's what we all want. We all want to be part of family, community and society. But what I found with alcohol, although it started the social merry-go-round going, I kept on the merry-go-round of drinking, and it eventually put me in a place of isolation, abject fear of life, not wanting to be included in anything, fearful, and whenever I was out, putting on a brave face, hoping that nobody would ask me anything about me, least of all, how are you? Because I would just say fine, and I wasn't. So these days I am sober one day at a time because of family, friends, community, professionals and a fellowship which helps me on a daily basis, whether I go to a meeting of fellowship or whether I just read something from the fellowship or about it, or just meet with friends who are in fellowship. And this day, this is the day before this video comes out, because I do these quite late in the evening. It's been a beautiful day in London, and the sun has been shining. I met with and had coffee with a friend from the fellowship, and it was an absolutely wonderful experience. And afterward, when they were going off to do something important in a different sphere of their lives, I was doing something important in my life, which is taking photographs around the capital and chatting and talking with people. There is nothing like standing still with a camera to get people interested in why are you photographing trees or magnolias? Why are you photographing a building? Why are you just out here taking photographs? And often when I'm talking to people, they're having a day off from work, or they're just going about their life because they don't go to work. And that brings me on to a subject for what's going to happen tomorrow. Actually, there's a big demonstration in London all about cuts in our budgets, increases in our taxes, cuts in our public services, and generally quite a lot of misery going around because of the way the economy is right now. And ladies of a certain age, a lot of retired ladies, are actually going to take part in these demonstrations in London, and they don't want to be treated like students were earlier in the year, and that is, they were confined and bunched together in great big groups by the police to stop them marching where they felt they ought, which was Parliament Square. It got violent, and I doubt that it will get violent with little old ladies and little old men tomorrow. At least I hope not. But the weather is good, so it could be a very stormy moment or two. Or do we think people are going to listen? And one of the remarks I heard on the media is quite telling. We talk about a big society in the UK where people take the strain when public services are cut, and the retort from the older generation, and the generation most hit by taxes, is yes, it's a society, and it's called big corporate society, where forever and a day it seems that corporate life is taking a lot away from people and enjoys good tax breaks and enjoys freedom to undermine the individual. Anyway, that's what got me drinking some of the time back in the 1970s, when I realised, oh my God, this is going to be big corporate society taking over and making life difficult. But my video is about recovery, and the reason why I include this today is simply because I can still think and feel, or rather feel what I actually feel about situations in the world. And I hope that what is happening in the Arabian area of the globe, North Africa, is actually sending a message not only to the people who have been putting people down for decades. It may be sending a message to those in politics that they cannot keep on, well, they just cannot keep on doing what they're doing, which is not listening to the people they're there to serve. Government is there to serve the people. So I've got my wits back, or maybe I'm at my wits' end. Enough of that. So, fellowship, AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, never speak for it. It's a fellowship of unique, authentic people, each person equal size to the next. So nobody speaks for another person, and nobody speaks for the fellowship, because it's there for one purpose, a desire to stop drinking and stay stopped, and then share a message of experience, strength and hope to help other people. So I'm going to read the preamble, and it'll fit in with what I've just said, because we are allowed to have our own opinions again, and not be frightened to have our own opinions again. Because life did get very distorted for me. I had no opinion on anything, but I am allowed to have opinions on everything and how people are being treated in this world. So, AA, what is it? The AA preamble, said at every meeting, is this. And it's meetings where you see, what you see is what you get. What you see in a meeting is what you get. So you see, experience, strength and hope of what's working and what is not working. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. Does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. So I'll just say that's what AA is not a part of. But every human being on the planet, so I'll say it in a different way, every human being on the planet is in some way allied with maybe allied with a sect, a particular denomination, have political views, have affiliations to organisations and institutions, and does wish to engage in controversy, and do endorse and oppose many causes. But AA doesn't do any of those things. It's there for one purpose. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And that is the main difference. AA is a fellowship. It's got no hierarchy or leadership which is telling another person what to do. It's the very opposite of that. It's their tradition, one of the fellowship, which part of the traditions is what holds the fellowship together, says unity is absolutely important, but at the same time no AA person or a fellowship person can tell another fellowship person what to do. Unity is absolutely paramount to get sober and to stay stopped and share the message, but unity is absolutely fundamental, and that's what it is. So it's a sort of anarchic democracy, but nobody wants to pull the fellowship apart, because it's not about pulling it apart, it's about being part of the fellowship which keeps us sober. And then we can have every sort of view or outlook on life as we learn what is right for us or what is good for us. And the way we find out what is good for us is often to listen to the voices of other people around sobriety, and then in society around what is good for us in society. So in an ironic sort of way, AA releases the freedom of choice again in a person to take an active part in what is going on in life, family, community and society. Now that is a wonderful thing, and I have immense gratitude for that. And when I can't get to meetings, I read from these books, Daily Reflections, this one, As Bill Sees It, this one, I can keep on going, there's quite a few. The AA Big Book, Alcoholics Anonymous, which is the toolkit, really. In there is the toolkit of how to live sober. But when we're new, it takes a while to actually read anything, and also to concentrate. So, recovery is not about being fixed. It's not about being this, that or the other. It's about rolling along with life, finding out what we can do and what we can't do. So one thing I can do is say that fellowship is fantastic, but I can't, for me it's fantastic, but I cannot speak for other people in fellowship. That's their role wherever they feel it is their responsibility. So, daily reflections for the 26th of March coming up. Yeah, the teaching is never over. It says here, abandon yourself to God as you understand God. So for me, my understanding of God is the truth of now, not my opinion. Love, how to love people, be loved back. And wisdom, learning wisdom of life by doing and experiencing what's going on. So God is truth, God is love, God is wisdom for me. So abandon yourself to God as you understand God, and your understanding of God is absolutely right for you, whatever it turns out to be. Admit your faults to Him, the truth, and to your fellows, those about me. Clear away the wreckage of the past, that is, look at the past and find out where damage has been done and where I need to make restitution, and to admit my faults. Give freely of what you find and join us. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit. And for me, this fellowship of the Spirit is always in the meetings and being part of the real life situation. And you will surely meet some of us as you trudge the road of happy destiny. And trudging doesn't mean it's boring or hard work. Well, it is hard work, but trudging means just a continual moving forward rather than always going backwards. May God bless you and keep you until then. So as a fellowship, the invitation is always there for anybody who has a desire to stop drinking and sharing a message. These words put a lump in my throat each time I read them. In the beginning it was because I felt, oh no, the teaching is over. Now I'm on my own. I will never be this new again. Today I feel a deep affection for our AA pioneers when I read this passage, realizing that it sums up all of what I believe in and strive for, and that with God's blessing the teaching is never over. Truth, love and wisdom is always developing and growing as an understanding of life in the moment happens. I'm never on my own, and every day is brand new. And that's why we always say it's a one-day program. And I do get a lump in my throat when I read that, because in decades ago, when life was more clear in many respects around values, beliefs, the fundamentals of what makes us tick, and these days we're bombarded from every angle by 24/7 news and entertainment and media and the work that we need to do for ourselves and other people, and we get little time to meditate or reflect that it's okay just to be ourselves. And sometimes we have to turn off the media, turn off some of these channels which are disturbing us, so that we can get our balance back. So whilst I might talk about it's okay to have my freedoms back and to understand what's happening in my country, in England and in London tomorrow, it's just my outlook which tells me I partly want to go. I don't know that I want to demonstrate, and I don't know if I have the right to demonstrate sometimes, because do I have the right to express my views and opinions? And the answer is yes. But for a long time I felt I had taken them away, and society didn't want me and I didn't want society. But do you know what? I have to say that when I said please help me, there were people around who listened and helped me to find a life again. So redemption, or the opportunity that life can change, is always there, and I took it to death's door more than once. As Bill sees it, this one, I was just looking at page 26, the true independence of the Spirit. The more we become willing to depend upon a higher power, so the more I depend on the truth of what is happening, love and wisdom from others, the more independent we actually are. Therefore, dependent, as AA practices it, is really a means of gaining true independence of the Spirit. Yes, it's to walk tall, and to be alert with all our senses to what is going around us in the moment of now. So gaining true independence of the Spirit is the ability to cope with reality for me. And this is just my opinion, not anybody else's. We develop our own personal opinions as we go. 6.5 billion people on the planet, each with a personal opinion about life. The spirit of now, the zeitgeist as it's often called. At the level of everyday thinking, it is startling to discover how dependent we really are, or how interdependent we all really are, and how unconscious of that dependence. Every modern house has electric wiring carrying power and light to its interior. By accepting with delight our dependence upon this marvel of science, we find ourselves personally more independent, more comfortable and more secure. Power flows just where it is needed, silently and surely. Electricity, that strange energy so few people understand, meets our simplest daily needs. And in this particular year, with so many tragedies and natural disasters, earthquakes and tsunamis, nothing is taken for granted in some parts of this world ever again. Though we readily accept this principle of healthy dependence, in many of our temporal affairs, we often fiercely resist the identical principle when we asked to apply it to a means, as a means of growth in life, growth in the life of spirit. I better say that again, because I understand what it means, but I'm not making much sense. Though we readily accept this principle of healthy dependence in many of our temporal affairs, that is, affairs of the world, we often fiercely resist the identical principle when asked to apply it as a means of growth in the life of the spirit. And spiritual life grows with wisdom and learning to live in a vicarious world, a difficult world. Clearly, we shall never know freedom under God until we try to seek His will for us. The choice is ours. So when I say, as is nature and providence, as the universe works, if we look to what we can do and what we can't do, the very basics of genetic coding, I suspect, which is why the Serenity Prayer is so important. Nature is all about what it can do and what it can't do, and how life evolves is around what is possible and what is not possible. So the reminder in that Serenity Prayer, although it is to God and good conscience, depending on our belief system, is the real fundamental, it's the nuts and bolts of the natural order of things. And it's the natural order of society, family, society, community, you name it. It's what we can and cannot do within the framework of what is there already. Or if the framework isn't quite right, as a lot of people think in this country today, and in many countries around the world, that Serenity Prayer holds good about freedoms that we may take and participate in. So, whatever your beliefs or affiliations, they're yours, and that's a good thing. Keep them and cherish them. And that Serenity Prayer helps me keep and cherish people. So to God, or in good conscience, or to a higher power of your understanding, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference is always for me, just for today. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour, and believe you me, we can be addicted to anything in this life. My substance, alcohol, my behaviour, equally addictive. Work, relationships, collecting, materialism, trying to look right, trying to get the next job, worried about what other people thought of me, not really understanding much about how to make life possible and experience happiness in the moment of now. And 35 years of drinking, 35 years of trying to be whatever I thought I ought to be, rather than trying to find out what it's like to be me. And there is a big difference in how we conduct ourselves in life. So for me, a lot of the time in my formative years, relying on things outside myself to fix me. So if it wasn't alcohol, like I say, it could have been work, relationships. My happiness was contingent on external factors. And often we're all driven that way, to the point of distraction. And I didn't know how to switch off. So I kept on trying to be perfect, and the result was I was never perfect, I was never satisfied, and I was always worried that you would find me out. So these days I don't mind if you do find me out, because it means I'm going to learn something. And recovery is quite a difficult business. Once we've got to the place of addiction, it's very hard to stop doing something which used to help us, and it could have been many years of helping us fix the way we felt. So not fixing these days and living life as it is means I have to find a place of acceptance of how I am today. And I'm just back from the doctor's, and the doctor says, yeah, not too bad, could do better. And I know that too. I can do better. But, you know, on the main indicators, there is one area where I need some improvement. But given my circumstances, with a fractured foot and other things going on, it's hardly surprising that I'm nowhere near perfect. Thank goodness. So there's more to do, and that's the great gift of recovery. We get more busy, more interested in life, if life affords interest. And one of my other conditions, clinical depression, can overwhelm me and send me into a dark place again. So I'm always watchful for what is going on. So I follow professional medical advice on matters to do with professional and medical situations. And when it comes to my emotional and spiritual well-being, I have friends in fellowship who help me. And that fellowship is AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. And it's quite good, really. I saw 3 people on my way to the doctors who I know, just ambling along. Got 2 smiles and 1 turned away. And the one who turned away was conscious that my association via fellowship might be a hindrance to them because they were with somebody. So I don't mind, and that's fine. Life goes on. So how does fellowship help me on a daily basis to keep with a program 1 day long, 24 hours a day, keeping sober, so that life can work again, and I can find out what my feelings are, and I can be in the moment of now, this realistic moment where I work out what I can do and cannot do. Well, there is a preamble shared at every meeting of AA I go to, and it reads as a statement of intent about what AA can do. So here we go. Here is the statement of intent, and then I share a bit of literature and what's been going on. AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So that's my primary purpose, and it's never for money. We give it away to keep it. So in a philanthropic sort of way, but an equal sort of way, equality being key in recovery. No one's bigger, smarter or better than anybody else. We all have something to share, and that's the wisdom of how we got to sobriety, and then how we keep sober. So mine is just one message of millions. So if you don't hear what you feel is helpful, there are always other people in fellowship and in meetings you can share with. And I share that I'm part of the fellowship of AA simply because I am. I don't represent it, never can, never will, full of unique, authentic people, like me, just learning how to live for today and to be in the world. So, how is my emotional and spiritual balance today? Well, it's pretty good. I had a bit of a kick in the teeth earlier, although I didn't actually. Somebody put the phone down on me, and it was because I was suggesting that whilst they were resenting the world, the reason why they were able to keep on resenting the world was simply because they were resentful about their own personal situation. Not enough self-esteem, and a bit too much ego. So ego tends to tell us that we should be doing better, that people ought to be taking more account of us, paying us more, giving us more attention. And the answer is, we get what we are given, based on what they can give. And if we complain and resent, it's because we let it keep on happening without saying anything. And then we resent because they say, no, we can't change the way we feel, and we can't give you any more money. So if we stick with the situation and remain resentful, we are resentful at ourselves more than anything, because people don't value us enough. So the answer is, move on. Now that sounds like an easy thing to say. It's not. It's the hardest thing in the world, and it's the thing I didn't do which caused me to have a nervous breakdown. So my life changed completely because I did move on in the end, and it was a tough thing to do. So life is always difficult, but that's just the way it is. So daily reading for today. In this book called Daily Reflections, 1 page a day always helps me, and the month of March is always about letting go and letting good. So if we let go of resentments and let good happen, make good choices, we have a starting point. And it says here for March 26th that the teaching is never over. And it talks about God too. So it doesn't have to be God, it can be good conscience or a higher power of your understanding, but it's often the wisdom learned from other people. So as you understand it. So here it says, abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to Him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of your past. Give freely of what you find and join us. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit, and you will surely meet some of us as you trudge the road of happy destiny. May God bless you and keep you until then. So it's important to know it's about your understanding of God, and for me God is truth, the absolute truth, not my version. God is love, and God works through people. So truth, love and wisdom from others is what keeps me spiritually connected to the moment of now. It goes on to say, these words put a lump in my throat each time I read them. In the beginning it was because I felt, oh no, the teaching is over, now I'm on my own. It will never be this new again. Today I feel a deep affection for our AA pioneers when I read this passage, realizing that it sums up all of what I believe in and strive for, and that with God's blessing the teaching is never over. I am never on my own, and every day is brand new. And what more could we ask for? To be included, part of and loved, and be able to love back. That's the essential of life. So when we understand what we can and cannot do on a daily basis, and I need reminding constantly sometimes, through the Serenity Prayer, life starts to work for me, just for today. And that Serenity Prayer reads as this, or sounds like this. God, all in good conscience, grant me the serenity to understand, to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference is always just for today. From either addiction to or addiction to both, addiction to substance or behaviour. So my substance of addiction, alcohol, now in recovery, my behaviour, alcoholic, workaholic, perfectionist, any sort of ist you can think of, any sort of ism, and I guess the ism I've got now is living one day at a time, and the reasons why I do these videos is to share experience, strength and hope, and I guess that's as far as it goes. I'm not here really to influence anybody anyway to anything. I just share how my life works on a daily basis, and with the help of the Fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't speak for AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, never will, never can. I just speak for me and what is working today. So, last couple of days, been up and down, and a funeral on Tuesday, and yesterday another consultation at the hospital about type 1 diabetes and clinical depression. So some changes there too, hopefully for the good, to make life a little bit easier, improve it. But what's underlying all of this is being in recovery one day at a time. And here on YouTube I refer to some of the books in AA, and also to the AA preamble, which is shared at the beginning of every meeting. So I make no apology for sharing it again. It's a daily occurrence for me going to a meeting, and sometimes twice a day, just in case I need some experience, strength and hope and wisdom to keep going just one more day. So the AA preamble, which is shared at every meeting, goes like this. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And yes, that's exactly what I try and do, sharing a bit of experience, strength and hope. So yeah, my life has been difficult over the last few weeks, and I don't know whether I've made it more difficult or less difficult. Trying to meet things head on as best I can, with open, honest, willing eyes, and an attitude of inquiry and change. That's changing me. I'm not here to change anybody else. And the first step of the AA program, the action steps, 12 action steps, suggests I'm powerless over people, places and things, and if I were to drink again, life would be unmanageable. And I actually wholeheartedly agree with that. I'm not here to manage or control people, places or things. I'm here to enable better choice on a daily basis for me. Sometimes I have to look ahead for things to do with ongoing situations and make sure I make plans. But generally, if I look at what the fellowship has done for me, which is to help me understand my spiritual well-being, my emotional well-being and my physical well-being, then it's a daily occurrence. It's just for today. And I refer to books like this one, As Bill Sees It, which can give a page a day wisdom, or more if you choose, and this one, Daily Reflections, which is dated for each day of the year. And in the Daily Reflections, for each month it covers one of the steps, the action steps for individuals, 12 action steps, all about attitude change, behavioural change. Not about anybody else's attitude, and not about anybody else's behaviour, just how we live as best we can in the day. And as I've always said, the word God appears quite often in the text and understanding of how the 12-step program works. And for everyone, there is their own definition of God as they understand God, whether it's atheist, agnostic or believer. And it's a personal choice how it is understood and defined for them or me. So mine is God is love, God is truth, and God works through people, as Gandhi suggested as well. So when it says here, made a decision to turn our will over to the lives and our lives over to the care of God as we understood it, it's the caveat for me is on truth, love and honesty, I guess. That's it, really. That's my understanding. And from that we get wisdom from ourselves and from other people, often from other people, but also from our life experience. So just have to pause for one moment. Someone at my door. It was the postman. Anyway, carrying on, and yes, where do we learn? We learn from life experience, and the 12-step action program of AA requires life experience to make them real and to be put into action in reality. So the whole thing of AA really is not a theoretical exercise in any shape or form. It's simply a way of living, using open, honest, willing outlooks and approaches to change our attitude and behaviour as life changes on a day-to-day basis. So we stop being stuck in old behaviour, hopefully, and we're ever changing, and we just make progress. And I guess that's really what it says in As Bill Sees It for today's reading of this one. And I'm just doing these linearly and not in any particular order to support anything. So it says here, conviction and compromise on page 59. One qualification for a useful life is give and take, the ability to compromise cheerfully. Compromise comes hard to us all or nothing drunks. Nevertheless, we must never lose sight of the fact that progress is nearly always characterized by a series of improving compromises. Of course, we cannot always compromise. There are circumstances in which it is necessary to stick flat-footed to one's convictions until the issue is resolved. Deciding when to compromise and when not to compromise always calls for the most careful discrimination. And that's so true, because if we get stuck in insane misunderstandings about ourselves or other people, or we're wishing the world to be a certain way without putting any action in, then we're in dire problems of sliding backwards becoming frustrated and angry and resentful. And the difficulty is, for people who are in recovery, resentment is the number one offender for relapse. Anger and depression, I suspect, follow very, very hard on those heels. So what helps me most is inclusion in family, society, community, not in any particular order. It changes from day to day. But we are part of a civilized, I guess, species. One hopes so anyway. But we're all in different places, and the problem is, if we are determined to be right, we can be very unhappy. Or if we are just determined to find the right path, open, honest and willing, and to make compromises, I guess we have a better chance. Yeah, we do. On a daily basis, we fit in rather than stand out. And, you know, for me these days, I'm more interested in being a part of rather than in front of. And that was different in my career days, if you like, in industry. But going on to daily reflections, this one, and I think I've got time for it. For March 26, it says, the teaching is never over. And bear in mind, it's the God of your understanding when I read these things, be you agnostic, atheist or believer. Abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of the past. Give freely of what you find and join us. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit, and you will surely meet some of us as you trudge the road of happy destiny. May God bless you and keep you until then. So for me, it's more about good conscience and that connection to truth, love and living in the day. So those words put a lump in my throat each time I read them. In the beginning it was because I felt, oh no, the teaching is over. Now I'm on my own. It will never be this new again. Today I feel a deep affection for our AA pioneers when I read this passage, realizing that it sums up all of what I believe in and strive for, and that, with God's blessing, the teaching is never over. I'm never on my own, and every day is brand new. And really, for me, that is so critical. You know, every day is brand new. It's a new 24 hours. It means I don't forget the past. I learn the wisdom from it and experience from it the ways to change today, probably. So attitude and behaviour on a daily basis. It's forever changing if we are willing, open and honest, because the world doesn't stand still. And what helps me most often when things are going awry, I say the serenity prayer, which is acceptance. So God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, and simply on a daily basis